Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome, Siyabona. Welcome to Kyalami for round 6 of the Grid Championship, brought to you by Mettlestate, RaceFace, and powered by MTN. My name is Stephen Koenig, and joining me in the box, like always, is the one, the only, Janneman Press. Would I say goeiedag, Janneman, for this one?
Well, you could actually say goeienaand.
Goeienaand.
So, goeiedag actually covers everything. Morning, good afternoon, good evening. So, it's like good day. But yes, we're coming to you live from Kyalami. We're back on local soil. Can we say we're going to have a barbecue? We're going to drive off into the sunset and hopefully not catch a cheetah. How does that sound?
It's going to be an incredible one, and our drivers are going to have to power their way through. First heading into turn 1, then down into turn 2, the left-hander, Crowthorne, going to be a bit of a difficult one for all the drivers to compete with. Make their way through a little bit of a little bit of an S before they get into the tight left-hander of Barbecue. Then onto the short pit straight, well, the old pit straight before they head into Sunset. A long right-hander that requires you to feather the throttle all the way through. Then get to Clubhouse, stand on the brakes, turn left, and get back onto the power. Short straight at the top, and then you start making your way into the very famous S's, where you got to keep your rhythm, keep the momentum, and claw your way to the top, all the way to Luakup, through the tight left-hander before you work your way down the mine shaft, keeping your foot absolutely planted all the way down, right into Crocodile, which is a right-hander. It used to be called the Bowl. You make your way through that, and then you aim your sights on Cheetah, where unfortunately we've seen Cheetah go and take a few more knocks with our cars as they've got to get back onto the power through Cheetah, which is a short little right-hand chicane. Right-hand chicane, down the short straight, into Ingwe, into a very tight left-hander, where you can actually open up a little bit early, try and carry the momentum through, and back onto the pit straight. Yes, it's good to be back.
It is good to be back, and I think Kyalami is a favorite of a lot of drivers purely because it is a local track. It's a track that these drivers have been around hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands in some cases. I think I did well over 1,000 laps on Kyalami back in the ACC days, and Stephen, it always promises for very good, close racing, and it is a track that can catch you out. There is a couple of tricky sections around Kyalami, so you really need to be awake for this one.
Yeah, no, it's going to be absolutely incredible. And taking a look, qualifying has started. We've got 8 minutes left. All eyes are going to be on this man over here, Tariq Adam, leading out the championship. He is getting chased down by Daniel Demetrios Precho, who's really trying to keep up the momentum in second place, 160 points. Tariq Adam on 243 points after a very dominating early run in the season. Then you have got Christian Deploy, who is lying in third place. Henry Mayer going to be chasing him down in a fourth place. Then we've got Ryan Ottens in fifth, Johan van der Merwe in sixth. Seventh is going to be SES Days. Kieran de Passy also trying to get a little bit of momentum. He's in 8th place. 9th is Ronaldo Boersma. And 10th place in the championship is Daniel Rowe. But currently out on circuit is Tariq Adam, leading out the field with a 140.1 and getting a little bit quicker, as we just see on screen, 140.187. Then Giovanni Porzero up into second place. Henry Mayer currently in third. He's trying to get himself going. Ryan Ottens in fourth place. Daniel Rowe in fifth. Ronaldo Boersma in sixth. Daniel Demetrios Precho, who's a little bit further down, as it does look like he's been beaten out by Justin Lotus, who puts himself into sixth place. So Daniel is down into 8th place. 9th is Andrik Sikkers. 10th, Nicholas Manuel getting a little bit of momentum. Zedos. And then we've got Fleming Bauer. Kieran du Plessis out in 13th position. Cameron de Bastos also getting a little bit more of a run. Eric Kirstein, followed by Leclubison, Morgan McCall, Mahayath Musa, Daniel de Villiers. A little bit further down in 19th. 20th is Johan Kleinans, SES Days. Please note, though, the ZRC going and having a different color scheme based on some interesting banter a bit early on. and have now got the Paw Patrol as they go and battle their way around the circuit. So keep an eye out on the Paw Patrol because they are looking to do battle this evening.
Going flat out around the track, I see. Stephen, looking at those lap times, we spoke about it last night. Will we see a 39? And I think Tariq Adams at this stage with a 140.2 essentially, only 0.2, less than 0.2 seconds of going into the 139. So I think it is possible. It does look like, last night, it's starting to get a little bit dark out on track. So this race, I think, will be going on into the night. And I'm going to say it again. Will there be a afternoon high-felt thunder shower during the race? Who knows?
I don't think we're going to have a high-felt thunder shower, but what I can tell you is we're going to have a little bit of darkness creeping in because it is 9 minutes past 6 p.m. in sim racing time, so the drivers are going to have to bear that in mind. The lights are going to go on, brake markers are going to fade into oblivion. You're going to start looking at headlights and tail lights as they make their way around the circuit. That's something to be very, very well aware of during the battle as well. So let's see how this is all going to work. Daniel Rowe hoping to get a little bit more of momentum. He was 0.1 up on his lap time, unfortunately lost it through Leerkorp, and that just can be from a simple thing of getting on the power a little bit too early, allowing the car to rotate a little bit more, and loses out that little bit of momentum. So it's something all drivers are going to have to be well aware of that. And I see that we have got Izzy Forever going and saying good luck to the champions. He went and put in a bit of support towards the Genesis, who are currently leading out. And well, at the moment, Tariq Adam, if he can carry on the momentum, will be eking out the championship. I think it's going to be a little bit close for second place, though. Tariq Adam has to maintain a dominant run. We're only on round 6 at the moment, and everyone still has positions up for grabs. So bear that in mind. I don't think it's all over yet. Morgan McCall, he's back out on circuit. Morgan last night couldn't race due to load shedding. Seems like they circumvented that problem this evening to get out and have a bit of fun. And I do believe Morgan McCall's also going to be moving to iRacing relatively soon as well. So good to see him out there. Mahith Musa up into 8th place. Keep an eye on him. He's been on a proper run, making his momentum known with last night in the BMW.
Well, Stephen, it is, you're mentioning Morgan maybe making the move to iRacing, and it's something that we've actually seen a couple of drivers do. And I'm not necessarily talking about iRacing, I'm talking about racing on multiple sims. They don't necessarily always just set their sights on ACC. They, let's call it, open up their repertoire a little bit, and they venture over to other sims to see what they can do on them. And Morgan, if you do decide to make a move over to iRacing, all I can say is see you on the track, buddy.
Mind out for the ABS. Well, I've just also been corrected. It's actually, let's see if I can get this right. And I do apologize if I make it wrong again, but I'm trying my best. Giovanni Porzio. That's how to get it right. So Giovanni, he's currently out in 3rd place. He's trying to catch up to fellow teammate a little bit ahead. No, actually gets ahead of Daniel. So now is up into 2nd place. Tariq Adams still holding that 1st place. Henry Mayer moving himself up into 4th place. Keep an eye on him. He's also hoping to get a little bit more of a charge close into the championship. Then you have got Ryan Ottens in 5th. 6th is Christopher Radloff. Daniel Rowe going to be chasing him down. Morgan McCall in 8th place. Mahith Musa dealing with Bego Krobler, who is dropping a wheel on the dirt. So Bego Krobler having to get himself all back and going, along with Anrik Sichers in 11th place. 12th, Ronaldo Boersma. Nicholas Manuel trying to gain a little bit of an advantage there as well. Justin Lotus, Daniel De Villiers, Andre Serradio, also someone to talk about. Been supporting all the drivers right across the different sims from F1 to ACC. He has been there going and supporting the drivers, which is good to see. SES Ace having a bit of fun out on circuit. Fleming Bauer getting a little bit more momentum. Kieran Duplessis down in 19th. Leclerc Son into 20th. 21st, Cameron de Bastos, Eric Kirsten, Paul the Wall. Well, we can't say the Wall. It's going to be Paul Pinky Toe Fenter at this point.
That's the one, yeah. And just quickly, while you're looking at Paul Fenter, could you get more information, you know, about this corner that he's going through? Cheetah, or is it now Gila? I don't know what it is anymore.
I think he called it, I don't want to hit it.
Okay.
He's on a determined path, making it known that corner, every time he runs over it, he's going to have some apple juice to keep himself going. Harry Duplessis in 25th. 26 is Jan Kleinans, along with Fafirs in 27th. 28th, Ramona Yonka and Grant Sebastian in 29th position. 29 cars currently out on the field. They're going to be doing battle this evening. Really looking forward to it. It's going to be a really, really proper run, as the drivers are going to have to step up their game. And it's going to be a proper run down to the wire for every single one of these drivers. A big welcome to everyone joining us. Good to have you guys here, and good to see people out in the grandstands as well going and joining us. We're glad to have you guys here, and hope you're going to enjoy yourself with a bit of racing that's currently out on circuit, just qualifying, but it's going to get faster, better, louder. It's going to get absolutely incredible.
Absolutely. And for anybody that has been to Kyalami and seen GT3 cars go around the track, you'll remember how that sound reverberates through the hills. And it's even one of the best places on the track is actually on that little grandstand at Cheetah, and to just watch the GT3 cars thunder through there. It's truly tremendous stuff to see these cars out in action.
Well, you're about to see it, because Mahath Musa coming up to it. You saw the little grandstands just as he was approaching Cheetah. That's also absolutely incredible. One thing we do need to talk about is obviously the pits, something that people get a little bit too acquainted with or will end up making bit of mistakes. Tariq Adam out in first place, though, is not making any mistakes and making it very well known to hold that first position. Ryan Otten's in second place. Tariq Adam hoping to bet his lap time. He's one of 3 cars still currently on, 4 cars currently on circuit. He is 0.1 up on his last lap time. Can he get quicker than a 140.187? He's going to do his damnedest to get it into the 139s. Can he make it work? Because it's going to be absolutely a credible pace. 140.125. He tried. He got close, but just couldn't quite get it into position. But that does signal our end. So let's move over to a break before we head out to the racing. And we are back. Did you miss us? Because we sure have missed you all. It's been a short time, but it's been a long time. Tariq Adam out in first place, though, is going to be making it a bit of a run. And let's go and take a look through it. So there we go. The Grid Championship brought to you by Mettlestate, RaceFace, and powered by MTN. Tariq Adam out in first place. Ryan Otten's in second. Giovanni Paul Zio in third place. Daniel DeMarchis Brito, along with Christopher Radloff, Henry Mayer, Kieran Duplessis, Ronaldo Boersma, Daniel Rowe, S.E. Estes, Nicholas Manuel, Morgan McCall, Mahath Musa, Bego Krobler, Unrik Sikkers, Justin Lotus, Fleming Bauer, Daniel de Villiers, Andre Serradio, Eric Kirstein, Leclerc Basson in 21st, 22nd, Johan van der Merwe, followed by Cameron de Bastos, Kerry Duplessis, Paul the Pinky Toe Fenter, Grant Sebastian, Jan Kleinans, Sean Fafirs, and Ramona Yonka. And in the commentary box is Janneman Price and myself.
No, I'm just quickly sitting and thinking when you went through that grid, Paul Pinky Toe Fenter. Shouldn't we actually call him Tippy Toe Fenter?
Could be Tippy Toe Fenter. I think that's a perfect name. He's no longer the wall. He's Tippy Toe.
Yeah. Maybe he's going to tippy-toe into the wall tonight. Who knows?
Well,
or into his own rig.
Let's
Pull
see.
himself towards himself.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. A short formation lap means I've only got 2 corners to warm the tires up, warm the brakes up, which is not a lot of time to get these cars up to temp. So you can see them going and staying suspended in the air as long as they can to keep it all up and going, keep those tires nice and warm. It is a 1 hour, 20-minute race. It does need 2 mandatory pit stops that is going to demand from the drivers. Will there be tire changes? Well, we're going to have to find out. Last night in a 55-minute race, they didn't think so, but go and switch it over to a likes of a 1 hour 20. Maybe it will be beneficial as they're lining up. Tariq Adam, though, going to slow the pace down. He's going to get to 70 kilometers an hour. Ryan Otten's looking to try and get the jump. Both of them fighting out for the championship positions, and 2 teams that have been fighting it tooth and nail this whole year. But let's see what's going to happen as they make their way to the line. Waiting for Jim to call green. Our KMA Marshals, our Kyalami Marshals Association to help. And green flags all around. We're going. Tariq Adam off to a great start. Eric Kirstein, though, drive-through penalty for being too quick. So
3 drive-through penalties on the start.
Oh, and that's going to be for out of position as they power their way through. Christopher Radloff, though, going extremely defensive, keeping Q and Duplessis as they all foul through. It is landing up with multiple cars all trying to fight and jockey for position as they battle their way through. Looking all good, though, as we head down. Daniel Rowe, Henry Mayer, they had a bit of a coming together, light touch. But it does look like Henry Mayer's got stuck on the outside. He's going to try and pull himself through. Morgan McCall getting a little bit more of a jump. He's trying to pull himself up. And you can see Ronaldo Boersma keeping very tucked up underneath the wing, trying to get a little bit closer. Bego Krobler has got Mahath Musa all over the back of him. SES is trying to move up. Fleming Bauer dropping down as Justin Lotus gets by as they make their way through the S's. Eric Kirstein getting thrown a little bit further down the order. Fleming Bauer a little bit down in 17th. 18th is Andre Soradio. He's got a massive train. Andrik Sikkers. Cameron de Bastos, though, has been trickling down the order. Goes up on the inside of Sikkers. He's going to fight his way through. Kleinans and Leclerc Besson also going and battling it out. Paul Pinky Toe Fenter, or Tippy Toe, now also having to Tippy Toe. As you said, 3 drive-through penalties coming up and landing up with a world of hurt as they make their way down into the Crocodile.
Yeah, well, so far, Stephen, very, very clean start with Tariq Adams out in front. Ryan Otten's trying to hunt him down. I don't think Ryan Ottens is going to take this lying down. He wants the lead of this race. He wants to try and get out in front. But if Tariq Adams has got anything to say about that, he's just going to say no. Setting the fastest lap out in front. You know, really getting a good, clean start, getting this race going. Unfortunate about those drive-through penalties. Not something you really want in a race like this, essentially. Almost putting an extra pit stop, taking a good, 30 seconds down the road. So that's going to really set you back where you have to fight your way through again. And actually seeing that they're getting rid of those drive-through penalties very quickly on the first lap.
I think that's something you're going to have to do in a race like this. You can't hang around. You're going to have to try and get a little bit rid of all the problems, but frustrations will be creeping in for a lot of the drivers, having to rethink their entire strategies. You see Daniel Rowe up against Giovanni, trying to get closer, running right over the curb. All of them pushing the limits as they battle their way around the track. Good to see some good battles all the way through. Then you've got Bego Krobler. He's got Mahath Musa going and looking up on the inside. Wasn't able to make it stick. Essie trying to get a little bit closer along with Justin Lotus. And you can see the train has started splitting up ever so slightly at the front. But all the drivers now trying to figure out what they can do. Bit of a battle going on here for 4th and 5th as it's Lamborghini versus Ferrari. Oh, the horse and the bull. And it does look like Daniel Demetrios Brito going and doing everything he can. Does get pushed out a little bit wide of Q and Duplessis trying to make it work. Ronaldo Boersma, though, gets it all types of wrong, losing out way down the order, down into 13th position as he had a bit of a problem going into Crocodile. Now has Morgan McCall diving up on the inside, making it stick. Ronaldo Boersma is hurting at this point and doesn't seem like he can get the drive that he wants to, as now Fleming Bauer getting a lot closer to him and looking to try and straight line him. What is going on with Ronaldo Boersma, though? He doesn't seem to have the drive at all.
Yeah, it is quite interesting. I don't know can be a couple of things, in terms of setup wise, cars not set up really correctly. Can be tire pressures, can be tire temps that he's really struggling with, Stephen. But as you said, he's dropping down the field. Can it be? Fleming Bauer going wide.
Yeah, Fleming Bauer going and landing off in the weeds, and that allowed Andre Serradio to get by. But Ronaldo Boersma keeping close, but he's not getting the momentum that he wanted.
But is it a case maybe that Boersma's got damage, picked up damage somewhere, and he's struggling for pace-wise that way?
I don't know. He's pushing. He's definitely pushing. We can see it, but bouncing all over the show, which is highly unlike the driver. So something that's going on. Couple of guys serving their drive-throughs. Some of them actually doing their pit stops early on in the race under first round. And that's Daniel de Villiers is the first to, I think he did a drive-through because it didn't register.
Daniel de Villiers had a drive-through,
yeah. So he didn't do it. So first of everyone that's done a pit stop is the likes of Daniel Rowe, SES Days, Leclerc Besson, André Sikkers, Paul Tipito Fenter, Justin Lotus, and Ramona Yonka getting their pit stops done. Well, first of the pit stops, as we see Bego Krobler, he was out in the weeds. So something tells me Cheetah found its prey and went on the attack, and that's also forced Bego to dive into the pits. Let's see what happened. He was right onto the back of Nicholas Manuel by the looks of it, and trying to get the drive. Gets a little bit squirrely, lines it up for Cheetah, and both Nicholas Manuel and Bego Krobler get caught out by Cheetah. But it does look like Nicholas Manuel was able to get himself going once again. And Bego Krobler opting at, since he's right by the pit lane, well, time to go visit it.
Yeah, that was
beautiful.
We call it formation? Yeah, poetic, beautiful formation spinning.
Tandem.
Drift tracks, guys on the other side of the track there by the old pits.
Just a bit of tandem work going on. And good to see the guys having a bit of an interest there. But this gives an interesting thing about sim racing. Drivers having to adapt their strategies to whatever goes on. How can they push themselves? So we see Andre Serradio, he's got Ronaldo Boersma, who seems to have got some giddy up back underneath him, and as trying to go around the outside, side by side through Leocorp, and now it is down the mine shaft. These two, Andre Serradio and Boersma, are just looking into the whites of each other's eyes and seeing who's going to break first, and they are keeping it close, and now Kleinan's coming to keep it in for company as well. So Kleinan's looking to get a little bit closer, but well done to Serradio. And it comes back. Harry Duplessis taking it. Grant Sebastian going off in the wall as well. Grant Sebastian taking evasive maneuvers. Now has suffered severe damage onto his car. That's changed his race. Harry Duplessis was pretty much assassinated by a out-of-control Boersma at this point, which doesn't work out. Oh, man. That's
Boersma only getting going now, and he's also diving into the pits.
I think at that time of the strategy, it's not going his way, and Lady Luck is not sitting in the pits tonight. He's got Murphy sitting in the pits going and giving him a rough time. That is not going and turning into an easy battle. As Kieran Duplessis drops the wheel on the dirt, that's allowing Daniel
contact.
Daniel managing to get past, and it does look Giovanni is also going to try and capitalize on it. Kieran Duplessis just running out wide, and it's so easy to do out of Sunset. And the Boma, you're carrying more than enough momentum, and you just go and miss that brake marker by 1 or 2 meters, and it can land up in a world of hurt.
Yeah, actually, Clubhouse is one of the corners on the track where normally you try and brake as late as possible and can catch you out sometimes. But these three are, going at it. Daniel de Petro out in front, Duplessis and Porzio just behind them. Little 3-car train as they go through Cheetah.
And there's This is Henry Mayer and Andre Serradio taking the fight to one another, and Kleinan's joining in for battle once again. So this is also one of the closest little trains we've got. The ones ahead are literally sitting within a second. These three are sitting within 0.2 of a second of one another, and I think Henry May is starting to get a little bit stressed out here. Daniel de Villiers, though, is dropping down the order, and I can't actually get to him. Daniel de Villiers looks like he may have suffered. Yep, that's it. Daniel de Villiers has suffered a disconnect.
No.
He is out of the server, so not a good run to his night, and having a bit of a difficult time there. Kleinans, though, going and putting out all paws at this point to go into the fight, getting a little bit closer to the likes of Andre Seradio. Let's see if he'll be able to send it up on the inside. Nope, goes and slides around. Andre Seradio going over to try and defend against him, and also go back on the attack of Henry Mayos, putting up a monstrous fight against the three. These mirrors are filled between a Lamborghini and a McLaren.
Yeah, these three cars going out in front of it. It does look like Maya's got a little bit of damage on that Ferrari front and rear, so that might hurt him a bit, might hurt his tires as well. Aero on the car, but Seradio not backing down, closing up under braking. Oh, that's close through there as they go down Leeuwkop, or through Leeuwkop, down the mineshaft, trying to get the power on Seradio, tucking into the toe. Really close. Is he going to have a look at Crocodile? Don't think he's close enough though, but that is some good close racing. And just behind them, you know, they've got, who's
Fleming
that? No, that's Kleinans behind them.
Yeah, that's Kleinans behind Fleming Bauer a little bit further back. And also we've got Tariq Adam and Ryan Ottens. They're trying to make their way a little bit closer. They're starting to lap the field. Christopher Adloff making his way. So we've got drivers already starting to work their way through the field. And that's something to be aware of, because with 28 cars out on the circuit of Kyalami, despite it being a rather wide circuit and being a, well, it's not quite a grade, I think a Formula 1 circuit is grade 1. This would be a grade 2 circuit, which will allow for WEC and SRO. But with 28 cars on the circuit, it doesn't make it any interesting, well, any easier to get past one another as they fight their way through. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how they get a little bit more of a run with one another.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, Stephen, talking about grades of circuits, and it's actually a very couple not too big changes that needs to be made to Kyalami to get it to grade 1. No, one of the big ones they want is Tech Crow barriers that Formula 1 loves, and then one or two other changes.
For Cheetah to be actually
size. They were worried that the quicker cars like Formula 1 cars might actually land at the back of the pits if they hit Cheetah too hard.
But an LDMH and an LMP1 will be fine. Henry Mayer, though.
Who worries about them? They've got good suspension.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Henry
Mayer. And if they go
got,
sideways, they tend to flip.
Yeah, that's it. Well, it's a GT cars, but Andre Seradio fighting and doing everything he can with Kleinans now pulling. Well, that actually was Henry Mayer pulling into the pit, so Kleinans getting onto the back of Andre Seradio. We do see that there's a hashtag biased on the back, and when I actually inquired about it, I said, "What's the hashtag for? Why did you do that?" And the answer was, "Well, we bias towards puppies, not cats."
Oh. So the paws are just for puppies, not cats.
That's it. That's it. That's why they've actually got puppies on the top of the roofs. And let's see if we can get Tim in the helicam to give us a bit of a shot of it. Don't think we're close enough to see the likes of Kleinans' puppy on the top of his roof. As he fights his way through, Tim battling and trying to keep it all together. A little bit windy in the cam chopper, as they're now going and trying to get underneath him, but you can faintly see what looks to be a little terrier on the top of his car.
Okay, so they're going for the pure breeds.
Well, yeah, you got to.
Not the favorite specials.
No. He's going for the little terriers to go and have a bit of fun. Another little battle that's starting to build. 17th and 18th place is Leclubuson and Unrexicas. They are fighting it out with one another, which is absolutely fantastic to see. as they make their way around the circuit. Sikkers keeping nice and close to his teammate, trying to get the momentum, but we've seen these two come to blows with one another. I don't think any team orders are between them. We've also seen them try and push each other across the line, and Henrik Sikkers is the only chap that I knew, well, one of the very few drivers that I know, that can actually go and turn left to right to try and claw his way across the finish line, because last night he actually ran out of fuel and just came across the line. So that's something
I don't think he wants to
keep in
repeat that tonight.
No, I think lessons were learned, and as many people do say, you have to learn through pain in that regard. A couple of cars have done their first pit stop. 13th place, Eric Hossein has gone and done his drive-through penalty, so that was what's popped up. Cameron DeBastos has served his drive-through penalty, needing to do 2 more pit stops, so they've got essentially 3 stops. Daniel Rowe, though, in 15th position, has done the first of his pit stops and leading out the charge, with Essie trying to close down the distance to him. Henrik Sikkers, Leclerc Basson, Justin Lotus, Johan van der Merwe, Paul Tippito Fenter, Bego Krobler, Ramon Ionka, and Henry Mayer also have done their pit stops. So it's something to bear in mind of. I think Ramon Ionka actually, yeah, he also served a second drive. Oh, my system says second drive through, but I don't quite think so. So it's something to keep an eye out for. Bego Krobler, though, on the back of Paul Fenter as they make their way through into the toe, trying to pull themselves along. Not close enough just as yet to make an impact. You can see that Lamborghini going and understeering a little bit, and that's something I am noticing, that the Lambos have picked up a little bit of
running wide.
Yep.
You're losing a drive up to Leeuwkop. So actually covering the inside line, so he's going to make Bego go round the outside. And actually well done there, Paul, when you lost the drive, covering that line. But I don't think Bego's going to back down that quickly or that easily. You do know we're going to get it for this whole tippy-toe thing there.
Well, I do think that Paul needs to remember he fell off into the crocodile, what at the time was called the bowl. And that was because he outbraked and nearly clouted his teammate when he went into the bowl. And then through Cheetah as well, he went and lost it. I think Paul has spent... He has been off on 90% of the circuit in a Formula V. And I think that's something he needs to wear off. And also, a little bit of information of Paul. He's one of the very few drivers in the world of motorsport that has dropped enough oil around the entire of Kyalami racetrack before this iteration of the circuit.
So it was a case of either emptying the whole sump or the whole oil holding tank on a dry sump system.
It was interesting for everyone behind and all the next cars next to it, because you just had a plume of cement dust kicking up from it. So, Paul, we're now even after you've done that. I finally get to tell the story of how you managed to red flag and delay by nearly an hour at Kyalami.
He just wanted to grab the attention of everybody.
He definitely got it. He definitely got it. And I think Zar Essa wasn't impressed either, because he nearly lost his championship in the same race. Daniel Rowe, though, is fighting out with Cameron DeBastos out on a circuit. So a bit of an interesting Daniel Rowe going and coming back after a bit of racing and now having a bit of fun. He's got Cameron DeBastos right behind him. Mr. Tabasco's horse himself going and battling it out, getting right into the toe, pulling himself along and just doing everything he can. This turn 2 so wide, but then it narrows up and you've just got to get it all sorted out. Otherwise, you will land up in a world of hurts. And we've seen so many drivers, unfortunately, not able to make the corner because they've just pushed the limits a little bit too far every single time. It's something that all the drivers are going to have to be well aware of as they make their way around the field.
Yeah, turn 2, Stephen. Very similar to the corner they're coming up now, going through Sunset, and that is Clubhouse. And what I'm trying to say is you try and brake as late as you can and, try to slung the car in and then go on and set your sights on the S's. Now, interesting to see the S's. Some of the cars, depending on the setup, it's a slight dab of the brakes just to get the rotation of the car into the S's, the first one. Other cars, just a slight lift as you go through there.
Yeah, slight lift, downshift, and get back on the power just to get that rotation in coming into play. Then Leocorp, you got to look for the tree on the right-hand side as you go and crest the top of the hill. And that's been there since Noah's Ark ran aground. I don't think they've ever cut that tree down. And I think the moment they do, you're going to watch 90% of the real-world drivers go crashing.
Coming out of the S's, starting to look for the tree. Where's the tree? Where's the tree? And then track goes that way.
Yeah. But a battle that's been keeping rather close. Tariq Adam and Ryan Ottens. These two are keeping each other very, very honest out on the circuit, which is great to see. They're really trying to push the boundaries at the moment. But with all the cars starting to get into the pits and Daniel Rowe leading it out, he's down in 13th position. Do you think from 1st to 12th are going to be well aware of this? Andre Serradio, though, losing it by the old pits. And let's see what we can find out what happened there. I think maybe dropping a wheel on the dirt. So this is down into turn 2. Making his way through the left-hander, getting back on the power. Now got to just wind his way back up. And now by the old pits, going to get onto the brakes, turns it in, and what a snap.
Actually, well done for keeping it out the wall. Normally we see the cars, going wide, putting a wheel on the dirt, and then, taking a detour into the old pit wall. But it was kind of a different snap from the Lambo. And we have seen the Lamborghini snap or get into that lazy slide of its once or twice before.
What would be the reason for a snap like that? That's one thing I want to ask. Is it because you're braking mid-corner? Is it because you're lifting and you're not keeping positive power onto the rear to keep that diff going? What would be a cause to do that, Jan?
Well, one of the reasons I can think of is, what they call lift-off oversteer. And that has got to do, Stephen, with the rear diff. Under-rotating as you're going through the corner, and then the rear of the car steps out. And a snap is something we do see some of the mid-engine cars like the Lamborghini. I know the previous Porsche was notorious for that snap oversteer of his. So it's something that some of the cars do tend to suffer from, and if you don't get that setup absolutely spot on, it is something that you will have to keep in mind going through corners like that. But there are ways to combat it, like you said, a neutral kind of throttle, as we see them going through Sunset. Serradio really, really on the back of Fleming Bauer. This is a close little battle there with Fafis just right behind them.
Yeah, Fafis keeping a very, very close run at the moment. Fleming Bauer doing a brilliant job of locking down that inside line, holding the apexes, and forcing the likes of Andre Serradio to try and figure out what he can do. Very, very close to one another. Now heading into Leocorp, who's going to be late on the brakes. Lamborghini's going to go for it, but will Fleming be able to get the undercut, though? Under drive? No, not as yet, but will have the slipstream down the mine shaft. That's exactly what you want, because you can eye it out. Down for Crocodile. So let's keep it all in mind. Gonna look up on the inside, late on the brakes. Ooh, slight contact between the two. And Fleming Bauer landing off into the weeds. And that's what I was a bit worried about, as Fafia says, thank you very much. But I do want to take a look from Fleming Bauer's view on that, because I think it was the slightest of contacts under braking. But you're running so close as we jump on board the helmet cam. Tim giving us the helmet cam, which is great to see. And
too late on the brakes.
Yeah, getting that tunnel vision, and just with a slight clip onto the rear, and now having to wait for everyone before he gets going. So that's something to bear in mind with.
Yeah, one thing we need to keep in mind going down the mine shaft and into the bowl of Crocodile, it's starting to get dark, and your brake marker is actually way off to the left-hand side that you need to spot. The Kyalami designers have decided not to put it next to the track. They've gone and put it on the wall there to the left-hand side.
Do you know why it's so far off to one side?
Not to run over the board?
It's because if you're coming down at the pace what they're doing, which is over 200 plus kilometers an hour, that board, if it was any closer and you lose it, can be a detriment to one's health. Especially if you're in a single seater, take a single seater, take your Formula 1600s, your Formula Fords, Formula Vs, Formula VWs, anything that's got an open cockpit. That board has got a fair amount of weight to it. Yes, it is made out of polystyrene. It's pretty much made out of polystyrene, but it does have about roughly half a kilo to 0.6 of a kilo of weight behind it, and if you get smacked on the head, as Daniel Rowe just discovers cheetah all over again, that's a corner he's very, very familiar of and has ended more than one of his real life races, so he's having to keep that in mind. But that board, once you hit it, can actually cause a lot of pain. So by rules, at that speed, you have to have it off to a fair distance. It mustn't be any closer. So that's something that the designers and for health has pointed out. Bit of a battle going on. You wish.
They can make an hologram of a board.
That's even worse. Ryan Ottens and Tariq Adam battling it out, and you can see Tariq Adam trying to maintain contact between the two, under braking. And Ryan Otten's getting twisted around there. Tariq Adam, I think, was a little bit closer than planned. And under braking, didn't quite expect to see where it stands. Side by side, this was at the top of Leerkop, and you could see the Lamborghini fighting left, right, and center. Keeping so close. Our pros properly battling it out. And this is right underneath. No, got caught out underneath braking. That slight little knock on the right-hand side. And Tariq Adam also just giving a bit of a, sorry bud, didn't quite expect you to hit the brakes there. It was a little bit earlier than I planned, and I was coming in a little 1 or 2 kilometers faster than I expected. But Christopher Radloff is going to be smiling with that one as he moves up into second place. Ryan Ottens, fortunate enough, does go into third place, but it does change his plan to it. Fleming Bauer, though, goes and runs off the dirt, and I think, once again, cheetah going and hunting its prey in the dark. Was this cheetah once again? Fleming Bauer coming down the mine shaft. This is the replay of what's gone on. As he gets a little bit of momentum through Crocodile. Yep, no, that's all looking good.
I think it might be cheetah.
Yep, I think cheetah found another target.
1.
Bang.
Yeah.
Yep, just catching it ever so slightly with the outside wall of the tire. It upsets the car, and you pretty much just hang on waiting for something to happen. So the drivers having to really dial things in as they move around. SESAs dealing with Unric Sickers. They are focusing on catching the cars ahead of them, like Fleming Bauer, who they're seeing is making little mistakes all around. Close battle, 18th and 19th position. Morgan McCall and Bago Krobler keeping a great little battle between the two. They are also keeping each other honest as well. So let's see how that's all going to work out as they put the power down. Does look like Morgan's able to get a little bit more momentum at the moment as he keeps the power going. Bago tries to look for the inside line. Interesting enough, Ronaldo Boersma has completed all his pit stops, and it looks like Grant Sebastian might be joining him. I think Grant has actually retired the car. Come to look at it, he may have actually retired that car and will be out of the race. Leading out the field, though, is Tariq Adam. Christopher Radloff in second place. Ryan Ottens in third. Daniel Demartros Brito in fourth place. Fifth is Kieran Duplessis. Giovanni Porzio. Hopefully I got that right. Giovanni Porzio. I'm waiting for confirmation because I do want to try get these names right eventually. I actually had a chat to Giovanni, and he had a good chuckle. He says it is a bit of an interesting surname to get right, and he's a good sport. He's much like Daniel turned around and said, when it happens, it's rather entertaining. So, it's good
my surname.
Well, that's it. Well, we all know you drive a Toyota Prius.
I'm not going to say it. I drive a Toyota. I've actually got 2, but none of them are Priuses.
You wish it were a Prius with the current fuel. Mahath Musa.
The one y'all would have felt.
7th place, Mahath Musa making his way through. Then we've got 8th place, Jan Kleinans going and making his way around. 9th is Fafirs in getting chased down by Daniel Rowe, Eric Hustain, Fleming Bauer, along with SES Days going and closing up the distance. Anrik Sikkers right behind the Klublason is chasing him down, along with Justin Lotus in 16th, 17th is Johan van der Merwe. Morgan McCall, Bago Krobler a little bit further down, so it looks like he managed to lose a bit of momentum there. Paul Tippy-Toe Fenter dealing with Andre Serradio a little bit further back, as Andre Serradio does look inside, outside, but it's getting rather dark out there for the drivers to try and figure out what they can do, and it's something that everyone's got to bear in mind. Henry Mann 22nd, Ramon Ionka in 23rd, 24th, Cameron de Bastos, Nicolas Manuel, Kerry Duplessis, Ronaldo Boersma, and Grant Sebastian has gone and parked the car, but is technically not out of the running. Isabel going and saying, I got it right. So thank you very much, Isabel. Good to see that getting the family members to go and tell me, hey, listen, try get it right, please. It would be appreciated. I always love it when I get the chats from everyone in the grandstands.
You know what's the interesting part always for me regarding the surnames is how horribly wrong we get it. But having a look at Paul Fenter and Andre Serradio, they are going at it. As you said, Stephen, turn 2, very wide. Serradio up on the inside. Is Paul going to try the switchback? No. Needs to be towing.
I think he's all good, but Bago Krobler, though, has got a problem. He's off, and here comes Andre Serradio. So now he is in a world of hurt, seeing it. Sikkers getting a stop-go 30-second penalty, and that's going to be for getting off the pit limiter a little bit too early while in pit lane, and that's going to hurt his race as well.
Yeah, I wonder what happened. I think Bago there put a wheel on the dirt and send him to the wall there. Unfortunately, we didn't get a replay on that one, but that is going to hurt him. And we'll have to see. Bago has, I don't know, Stephen, Bago's been struggling this past season. I don't know if that Lambo is quite gelling with him.
Yeah, no, we saw him previously, if I remember correctly, was in a Audi, or was he? Yeah, he was in the Audi. A lot of people going to the Lamborghini think it will be the new Meta, being a quick car, but unfortunately some drivers just not able to get to the grips with it. And that's something I've got to point out. The Lamborghini, as much as it's so much fun to drive, if you just don't gel with it. I had it recently. I drove it around the likes of Monza, and I just couldn't get the car to work with me. But jumping into the Ferrari 296, it worked beautifully. Jumping into the Mercedes was a bit of a... It worked. Was a bit interesting. And then the BMW was also quite a good one. But the 296 being the easier car to drive compared to the Lamborghini. But once you got the Lamborghini hooked up, Ryan Otsenso pushing a little bit hard and running off onto the dirt. I think he's still got a little bit of frustration from earlier on, and I know that Mrs. Ottens will be chatting to him saying, all right, take a breath, let's look at this and try and work the strategy back. His team will be going and talking to him saying, let's work the strategy back. Much like a lot of these drivers, I think Sikkers at this point also serving his stop-go 30-second penalty. He's going to be getting a bit of talks from the team as Van der Merwe losing out the drive. Here comes Morgan McCall. Morgan's going to get past and getting a little bit of momentum down to the wire. Morgan's had great success at Kyalami in the past with his brother Junior McCall. Both of them had a great time here at Kyalami, being one of their more favorite circuits. And just not able to get past Van der Merwe, who's able to carry a little bit more momentum and get the car going once again. So Morgan just doing what he can to knuckle down and get the drive back.
Yeah, but it's always good to see Morgan out on track. A driver that has got his fair share of I wouldn't call it bad luck, Stephen. Let's call it misfortune, load shedding, technical difficulties, mechanical difficulties, everything out there. So really good for me to see Morgan fighting out on track and try to get his way back out in front. He has had 1 or 2 podiums in the sprint series this past season, but success in the grid championship still very much eludes him most of the time.
Yeah, no, he is battling to reclaim the crown in terms of a championship, but he will be coming through. I do think he's one to keep an eye out for, the young man. Johan van der Merwe, though, has also been a bit of a dark horse to deal with. He has also made some very, very big strides on his way up and actually managing to win one of the races out at Messina in the GT3 Sprint Championship. So he's one to also just keep an eye out.
Very late on the brakes there. So he's really pushing.
Now, I want to bring up something interesting. Daniel Rowe, 9th position, has done his first pit stop. Fiers is down in 10th, so he is not in the same race. Fleming Bauer also out of the question. But with Daniel Rowe being in 9th, will it be a threat for Tariq Adam, Christopher Radloff, Ryan Ottens, Daniel DeMarchos, Pito, along with Kieran Duplessis, Giovanni Porzio, and then you got Mahath Musa, Johan Kleinans, all keeping in mind that Daniel Rowe is very, very close.
Well, let's put it this way. I don't think the top 3, at least, can be very comfortable. Tariq, Christopher Radloff, and then Ryan Ottens. I mean, Daniel Rowe is on a real drive here, and it does seem like he's got good pace. So it's a very difficult one, Stephen. Halfway through the race, difficult to really know where the cars will feed out come the end, because a lot of them still need to do 2 pit stops and some of them still need to do 1 pit stop. So
this was Henry Mayer's earlier incident and actually clouting the wall. And that's something you did bring up.
That's going to leave a mark.
Cars get a little bit of a launch and then go flying into the left-hand wall, and he's going to be doing a bit of repair work to the car. So that replay just showing how he got into the pits, and well, not the way you want to do it. In the dark, these drivers, as Van der Merwe gets all types of squirrely out of the S's. Morgan going and breaking away from that one. But the dark starting to come in play, and I do want to point out, let's go on board with Van der Merwe as he makes his way down the mine shaft. Take a look how dark it is out there. The drivers having to figure out what can work out for them. In through Crocodile, and now it's coming to Cheetah. Oh, that McLaren stepping out underneath him. And you can see how Cheetah just creeps up on you, but the darkness starting to take effect.
Yeah, but just on another point, Stephen, does look like the rear end of Van der Merwe's McLaren is very, very loose. So don't know if he's running low downforce on the car or if it's suspension that's not doing quite what it's supposed to do.
It's something we need to keep an eye on. But taking a look, it is 21 degrees out on circuit. That is coming into effect and causing drivers to rethink the strategy. Couple of interesting things. Daniel Rowe has done a splash and dash, so something tells me he's not going to go for tires for this race. Eric Kirstein, he's done drive-through penalty and still need to do a pit stop. Then Essie Estes was also splash and dash. The Kluberson splash and dash. Mahath Musa splash and dash. Morgan McCall splash and dash. So no one has taken tires as yet. Cameron DeBastos, though, I think has taken tires. He was stopped in the box for 32.2 seconds. I do also think he was dealing with some damage. Justin Lotus, 32.7 seconds. Might have also tires and a bit of work done to the cars, much like Andre Sickers and Kerry Duplessis. So some guys have taken tires. Others have opted to keep the drive on. Do you think it's going to be switching out the tires right towards the end? Or is it going to be just keep the power on, try and figure out what's going to work, and hope it all sticks?
Well, if you want to change tires, you've got, in my expert opinion, and please keep in mind I'm by no means an expert, you've got roughly 12 minutes to do it, because come half an hour left in the race and you haven't changed tires yet.
that was one of the Genesis Lamborghinis that's trying to make his way through. I'm just trying to see what that number is, and that might be Ronaldo Boersma that's trying to make his way up through the field, and you can see bouncing all over the show. So that might actually be Boersma. That's onto the back of Leclerc Besson as they make their way through. He is properly pushing the Lamborghini, and
that is indeed Boersma.
Yeah, Ronaldo Boersma. So Ronaldo's trying to make up some ground and get past the drivers, but he's lying in 27th position. So he's actually a blue flag, trying to get past a fighting Fleming Bauer and Leclerc Besson, and just not getting it all together. So he has to bear that in mind. Ryan Otten's now pulling into the pits, so that's going to keep a bit of a drive. But Boersma, who's trying to unlap himself at this point, is losing a little bit of time. Leclerc Besson does open the door for him, gets by, and just gives him a little bit of, okay, buddy, now that I've let you by, you need to go. You need to drive, and you need to allow me to get a little bit closer to Fleming Bauer. Be that wrecking ball, as he does look for the inside. Now, do you think that Besson went a little bit deep in the corner, lost out the drive, and that's how Ronaldo Boersma got by? And fighting the likes of Ronaldo going to be a good idea. Rather use him like a wrecking ball to try and get past the likes of Fleming Bauer.
It does look a little bit like he gave him a little bit of space just to get through, but Besson actually now losing out quite significantly as we see Boersma getting onto the back of Fleming Bauer. But as you said, Stephen, hoping that Boersma will drag him along and, get him closer to the car in front. But at this stage...
Well, there's Ryan Ottens, and I think Bauer's going to second-guess letting the likes of Boersma by, because he knows Besson's sitting right behind him. And Ryan Ottens is only within just a tip of the finger's distance at this point. And he's going to be thinking, right, buddy, if you're going to get by, you're going to have to get by and go. Otherwise, you're going to have to sit and wait, because I'm going to push as hard as I can to close the distance to Ryan Ottens just ahead of me.
Yeah, and we spoke about it last night. Sector 2, from about Clubhouse up to Leeuwkop. Not the easiest place to get past cars. You basically need to sit behind them and just wait for Leeuwkop to come up, where you can dive up on the inside.
Like
and
that.
Get the position.
Yeah,
unlap yourself.
And
losing the end.
Yep, lost the drive, and that has allowed Fleming Bauer to go side by side, because Leclerc Besson tried capitalizing on the problem. Boersma, though, is going to be in a world of hurt, trying to dab late on the brakes. Mahayath Musa now getting involved into the battle. This is 10th, 11th, and 12th position, so Ronaldo Boersma did land up with a bit of a problem, and that was the workout for Mahayath Musa. Besson pulling into the pits.
And McCall behind him in the pits.
Alright, so interesting days happening here, and trying to keep going. Bago Krobler getting a bit of yellow flags, and I think he dropped a wheel on the dirt through Cheetah. He's trying to catch up to Andre Serradio. It does look like losing out a bit of time there. But Besson pulling into the pits, deciding he is not going to carry on losing time at this point. Do want to point out Daniel Rowe up into 5th place, Christopher Radloff in 6th, SESA's up into 7th, and they're a little bit close to Giovanni, Kewen, Daniel, Demartos, Prito, and Tariq Adam, who has now pulled into the pits. So Tariq Adams trying to pull himself in. Daniel now pulling himself in, and he is also getting chased down by one of the hybrid cars. Will Kewen also be one of the cars to pull into the pits? And it doesn't look like it, along with Giovanni. They're going to go and stick it out. But that is getting likes of Daniel Rowe a little bit closer to the fight. Henry Mayer looks like he had a bit of a coming together with Cameron DeBastos. And let's see if we can go back. I see that there was a cautionary tale that happened between Henry Mayer and Cameron DeBastos. This was into Crocodile. Outbraked himself, goes for the dive, and there's the bump. Yep. A bit of an overzealous move, missing out the brake marker, coming in a lot faster than planned, and then you had Henry Mayer, who actually slowed down a tad earlier, being a bit more of a cautious approach, getting caught out right at the end.
So, Stephen, I think Tariq Adams showing his hand. I think he did take tyres. He was stationary for quite a long time in the pit box. So I think there is new tyres on that Lamborghini. And
35.6. Yes, that was a bit of repair work as well for the earlier contact. And I think you're dead right. He's actually taken a pair of tyres as well. So also something to keep an eye out for. These two fighting for position. This is battle for third place at the moment. But I think you're right. Tariq Adams going and showing his hand early on to go and clock in those quick lap times.
Yeah, now the thing I'm getting to is, do you think the likes of the Daniel Rose and the Ryan Ottens might have noticed it and might think amongst themselves, can we get to the end on one set of tires? Is there a way we can do it? Will we lose too much time in the final 35 minutes by sticking to the old tires?
You're losing 50... You're losing about 50 seconds in the pits. Looking at changing tires. Because the pit lane itself is 24 seconds entrance to exit, and then you've got the likes of stopping in the box, which is 30 seconds. So you've got to open a 50-second gap, and I mean that's a properly tall order to go for.
Yeah, essentially it's the tire stop, so which would be 30 odd seconds. He was stationary for 35, which, as you said, I think there was some damage with the incident he had earlier on.
What shenanigans have gone on here with Paul and the likes of...
it's not Friday yet, Paul.
A bit of shenanigans, and let's see. These two have come to blows more than once. Justin Lotus up on the inside. A little bit of a love tap between the two. Just a bit of a kiss. And
that's actually very proper close racing there. To go side by side like that through Clubhouse takes some doing.
Yeah, and both cars could have ended up in the weeds, and both of them able to keep it going. But this is why they're in the pro division. It's, you know, to reach this type of level and to be in the pro division, you've got to be the fastest of the fast. You've got to be very consistent in your times. You've got to also have mastery of the basics in racing, and that's something not many people can say for sim racing. To reach this top echelon, to call it, and especially to participate in the premier series that's happening for Assetto Corsa Competizione in South Africa, the Grid Championship, brought to you by Mettlestate, RaceFace, and fueled by MTN. To be here is no easy feat. We've got different classes. We've got our Pro-Am, our Am, our Gold, and our Silver all racing at the same time. But to reach this point, to be in this specific division, you've got to have the mental to do it.
They just added again.
Yep. And Paul, this time on the inside, losing out the drive to Justin Lotus.
Can we just say, Paul Fenter, Justin Lotus, they are in 14th and 15th position. They've completed all their pit stops. So this is essentially a battle for the lead of the drivers who have completed their pit stops, if that makes sense.
That does, and they're trying to keep ahead of this man here. Mahath Musa is doing his pit stop. Bit further up the road, Daniel Rowe and Daniel Demarchus Petro, they are still keeping it very close between the two of them. The two Daniels keeping each other honest. A Ferrari versus a Lamborghini. Two rival Italian brands. Two Titan teams, I can put it like that. Because these two have absolutely slugged it out. And two titans of drivers. The up-and-coming Daniel Demarchus Petro, who has been on top of his game. Really getting the power down. Daniel Rowe, a multiple champion, a national champion in the world of racing, and also has been the champion in the world of sim racing before, now going and slugging it out. It's the battle of the generations, if I can call it that. And Daniel, you're not old, but I think, Daniel, Mr. Rowe, I think you're not old, but you have got a young gun ahead of you that's looking to stamp his name, and it's going to be at your expense.
might not be old, but in the world of sim racing, you might not be old, but you can still feel old as you see him up on the inside.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful mastercraft by both drivers. A little bit of paint rub on both, but I mean, that is just close racing. There wasn't a push and a shove. There was just both absolutely wearing their heart on their sleeves and mastercraft racing on both drivers. Hats off. Hats off.
I would say that's how you judge a breaking point to perfection, and that's from both of them. I mean, on the outside, on the inside. I love racing like this. I love looking at it. It keeps you on the edge of your seat, Steve.
Yeah, both of them running very, very consistent times and very, very close times as they battle their way through. So very interesting to see. Christopher Radloff is dealing with Tariq Adam, who's right behind him. Tariq Adam now trying to get a little bit closer. Kewan currently out in first place, is doing everything he can to make a move. SESAS is dealing with Ryan Ottens at the moment. Ryan Ottens sneaks up on the inside but just can't get the drive. And I do want to point out at this because Essie is doing everything he can for the ZRC team, hanging on tooth and nail and really putting the teeth out, showing his bite at the moment to Ryan Ottens, who is the current GT3 Sprint Series champion. And that's no easy feat to take the fight there through Cheetah. Ryan Ottens second-guessing that idea because he knows Essie's not going to give him the room to go for it. Take a look, Tariq Adam and Christopher Radloff. Christopher Radloff going and walking Tariq Adam out to the pit wall, now both side by side, and beautiful, beautiful driving on both. And Christopher Radloff running out wide, and that's Tariq Adam saying thank you very much, gonna take the position and get going, and Tim the cameraman getting caught out. Christopher Radloff and Tariq Adam, both experienced race drivers. Tariq Adam racing in a Toyota Yaris GR, and Christopher Radloff has been racing in multiple forms of race cars over the course of the years, and also being a bit of a spanner monkey to it as well. So good to see him out there. Kewan though, okay, that is first place, currently parked and trying to get himself going. So what happened to Kewan? Let's see if we can take a bit of a look. He's caught up behind a battle just ahead of him, trying to maneuver his way through, and Morgan McCall in a fight. So he's got a dice ahead of him. He's trying to figure out how to go by. Gets on the power. And, understeering into the Ferrari. And that's where he gets caught out.
That's unfortunate.
The problem is he's involved in a little battle that's going on. And I think that was the Kluberson, along with Morgan McCall and Johan van der Merwe. Those three are all slugging it out. And it's up to the driver passing to get by. It's not up to the cars to just jump out the way. So as much as you can ask nicely, you might not get the answer that you want. And unfortunately, it was just wrong place, wrong time. Caught them in the wrong, definitely in the wrong place. And well, that's all she wrote, folks.
Yeah, that pretty much ruins your race. So he will have to fight his way back from there as we have a look at another fight. Andre Serradio,
Morgan McCall, Kluberson, and Johan van der Merwe.
The list goes on.
Yeah, these four are all properly in a bit of a tangle with one another. Mahath Musa not too far away as well. So Kluberson trying to go on the inside, try and get past Johan van der Merwe, does so. And van der Merwe does look to go for that inside line, unable to do it. But this train starting to form. But with it being so dark, Janeman, is this a bit of a dangerous situation? Because all you're seeing is tail lights ahead of you, of everyone concertinaing as they get into the corners.
Just a tad, eh? You know, Stephen, you can see, 25% of what you can normally see during daylight. I mean, you mentioned it. You see headlights and taillights around you, and sometimes it becomes a rhythm thing. You know the track. Not necessarily mean you can see the track, but you know the track. But we spoke about it last night as well. These headlights and taillights, they can put a lot of strain on the eye, and you can become so focused on them. See them go side by side through turn one. or they're just not gonna hang back. A little bit curb hopping there, but
The
the
Son
keeping it in check. So are running wide.
And Van der
Well done,
Merwe
not
got a
losing
capitalize. Absolutely tremendous stuff. And just up the road, Morgan McCall onto the back of Mahiath Musa, and Tipito Fenter now having to try and work his way through. Paul Fenter now has got a mirror full of drivers. This little train is building up bigger and bigger as they make their way through. Take a look at Van der Merwe, though, gets it past. Basson dropping a little bit back, and they do have, I think, one of the... Let's see who that is that's behind them. It's blue flag's going to be waved. One of the Genesis cars. That is currently first place. That's Giovanni.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Giovanni.
I'm looking at another race.
That's it. Giovanni trying to carve his way through the dice and not lose too much time. Mahiath Musa going on the defense of Paul Fenter into Crocodile. Morgan McCall keeping an eye on this side by side, going towards Cheetah. Bad idea, guys. And Paul going and wrecking. That was a bad idea. Lost the drive, though. And here comes the likes of Morgan McCall. Left, right, back onto the drive. And I think Paul at this point is sweating while holding onto the steering. All the drivers, I think, are gripping their steering wheels tight that you can go and see the finger indents from where they've been holding on to the stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing some, as we see Fenter going a lot out of McCall again. Fenter's not backing down. He's really not tippy-toeing this one. You know, he's, can we say, Paul to the wall on this one.
Definitely Paul to the wall. I like that one. Another battle a little bit further up the road. Nicholas Manuel and Jan Kleinans battling it out for the top 10. So they get the power on, and it does look like Kleinans getting into the toe of Nicholas Manuel just ahead. Nicholas unable to break away from it as he's trying everything he can to make up some time. But the drivers having to carve their way through traffic left, right, and center. You can see the rotation as Nicholas Manuel trying to kick the rear out of that Ferrari to just get the momentum. A little bit further down, Andres Aradio in 18th place has got Van der Merwe looking to try and get past him through Leocorp, and it does look like they are dealing with the likes. That might be Tariq Adam. No, it isn't. Is that Daniel? No, it isn't. It's one of the hybrid cars, though. Not hybrid, the Genesis cars battling it out. But out in front, Giovanni out in first place with Daniel Rowe in second. Daniel DeMartis Brito is out in third place. Tariq Adam in fourth. Christopher Radloff in fifth. Ryan Ottens in sixth. Kewan Duplessis, Fleming Bauer, Nicholas Manuel, and Johan Kleinans battling it out for the top 10. 11th place is SAS Jean Fafiers, along with Justin Lotus. Bego Krobler has got Mahiath Musa side by side. And Bego just not getting the same drive as Mahiath Musa is able to just get the power down a little bit earlier. The BMW being a little bit more dominant there. So Bego down in 15th position. Morgan McCall closing down the distance. Paul Fenter, Andre Seradio, Johan van der Merwe, Leclerc Basson, Henry Mayer, Ramona Yonka in 22nd, Cameron de Bastos in 23rd, 24th, Kerry Duplessis, Unrik Sikkers, Ronaldo Boersma, and Grant Sebastian still parked in the pits but has not left the service. So that is giving him a little bit of cheap points at this point, as he has done a fair amount of racing. I do want to point out that Daniel Rowe has done all his pit stops and is first of everyone that has done all his pit stops. Now needs to close down the distance ahead of him. So something to keep an eye out for. Andre Seradio and Johan van der Merwe, though, going to keep the battle going as they fight their way through. I think that maybe... I'm not quite sure who's actually... right behind them. It's one of the Genesis Ferraris.
Oh, behind them?
Yeah.
Sorry. I'll have a quick look now. It's Seradio, Van der Merwe, Porzio.
So it's Porzio that's trying to carve his way through. That is first place, who's getting caught up with the battle ahead of him. And one person that's going and saying, well, thank you very much, is Leclerc Basson, because he's hanging in the toe at this point of our leading man. Now, the question comes in. Getting held up like this, is it worth staying out? Is it worth just getting that car in, try and get into some form of clear air traffic and hope that you can get the drive? as we see Van der Merwe and Serradio walking each other to the edges of the circuit. The question comes down for our first place driver, who's losing out a fair amount of time. Is it worth rather to get the car in the box, get that final pit stop out the way and get going, or do you think he's going to lose too much time to Daniel Rowe?
Well, there's a couple of things about Giovanni. We have 21 minutes to go. He still hasn't pitted, so he's showing his hand, his intent that he's basically going to the end of the race on one set of tires. But, Stephen, in a situation like this, we've got Van der Merwe and Serradio fighting in front of you. Remember, we said it is Porzio's responsibility to pass these two drivers safely. They don't need to jump out of the way as Van der Merwe runs wide to the S's.
He's trying to bring himself back, and contact with Leclerc-Besson. I think it was just wrestling the car, and unfortunately just ran out of steam, and they came to blows with one another. Besson going and getting caught out, and I think Giovanni had his life flash before his eyes at that very moment. This is Bego Krobler. It looks like he had a bit of contact. Morgan sending it up on the inside, able to just give it a little bit of a paint rub, but no harm, no foul on that. But it does look like on my timing sheet, Morgan may have had a problem a little bit later on and dropped down the order. Let's see, did he get a little bit of rotation? Will we see it on this replay, or will we see it on the next? Because Morgan McCall's lost out 4 positions. So, yeah.
Oh,
Cheetah.
There he goes.
Cheetah and facing the wrong direction.
That's a horrible place to get stuck on.
Yeah, having to turn the car around and get it going once again. A completely frustrating moment. White flags being waved by our Kyalami Marshals Association. Big shout out to them. They're here in a virtual capacity. And our marshals not getting as much love as they should. But to give them a shout out in the virtual world is good to see. Battle that's still going on. 19th and 20th place. Leclerc-Besson and Johan Van der Merwe.
These two are not hanging back. They haven't been hanging back for a fair while now. Still going at it. So, you know, Van der Merwe, let's see how loose he can get.
I just saw a very interesting pass. One of the Genesis cars going and swapping positions, and Tariq Adam coming into blows with Ramona Yonka. So let's see what happened there. But I saw the 2 Genesis cars going and swapping around. Not quite sure who it was. Here is Tariq Adam trying to get past Ramona Yonka, who gets it all squirrely, and Tariq Adam, ever so light touch, but enough to put him offline, lose a bit of time there, and get going once again. Ramona Yonka, who got on the power and just had a Ferrari doing, well, its own little tango dance, and he's having to find the grip at this point. But now the track getting cooler, 20 degrees out on circuit, very, very dark. Tire pressures will come into play, tire temperature will come into play. We're starting to see mistakes creeping in ever so slightly up and down through the field.
Yeah, Stephen, you know, it's one of those things. You mentioned temperatures dropping. We're now down to a track temperature of 20 degrees and an ambient temperature of 20 degrees. So if you didn't take that into consideration when you did your tire PSI calculations, you know, it might be a situation where the tires are starting to drop out of optimum. We know that on the new tire models, they've got a bit of a wider operating temperature, or not operating temperature, I'm talking about PSI range, but there is still that sweet spot that a lot of the drivers prefer to, and if the tires drop out of that sweet spot, it can affect you quite negatively.
And then taking a look over to the grandstands, I see Andre Serradio sitting in his overalls and having a soda with the crowd. So Andre Serradio, whatever's gone on with the car, he has retired it, but is going to be having a bit of a drink with the crowd and saying, unfortunately, not out there, but he's going to keep an eye on the racing, because why not? You're already here. You got your entry to the Grid Championship, brought to you by Mettlestate and RaceFace. And fueled by MTN. This is round 6 of our 8-round championship, with everything on the line, prizes on the line for the drivers as well. So it's going to be an absolute doozy of battle. Paul Tippy Toe Fenter dealing with Andre Serradio, who's right onto the back of him. Interesting to see Giovanni now in and out of the pits. He's getting himself going. And that is a splash and dash. Will be his first pit stop. And where he comes out behind Ryan Ottens. I think Ryan Ottens getting ahead. And that's going to be an interesting one. Daniel Demarco Prieto. Now, we spoke about keeping an eye on him. A Lamborghini driver, hoping to get a little bit more grunt underneath him. The Genesis Esports Academy driver definitely is going to be graduating out of the academy with this performance at the moment. He's been battling his way through. It hasn't been the easiest one. Tariq Adam, though, running out a little bit wide through Sunset into Clubhouse. But we've seen some interesting moves. Some drivers taking some very interesting lines and trying to improve their racing.
I think it's trying to figure out a way how to go faster around the track and just pushing those limits, Stephen. And sometimes you just overstep those boundaries a little bit and it hurts more than what it helps at this stage.
And just taking a look, Grant Sebastian says, unfortunately, he was feeling a little bit under the weather. And after his major incident out through the cheetah trying to take evasive action, he decided rather just park it, being under the weather, rather come back fighting for another day. Which is good. You know, it's nice to see some drivers.
I'm sure your soothing voice will comfort him.
We'll definitely
hint to the last comment.
We'll definitely need to see a psychologist by listening to my voice.
So pleasing to the ear.
Ramona Juncker. Yeah, and on the final corner, stuck in the middle of the circuit. What on earth happened, buddy? And that is just not a nice place to be, especially in the dark. It is a bit of a blind corner on entry, so you can just arrive and have this car suddenly parked in the middle of the circuit. Doesn't touch on the marbles. And unfortunately, that is a very, very blind corner, so the driver's getting the yellow flag, warning them to take caution and be prepared to stop. And you see going left and right, seeing a car parked in the middle of nowhere coming into play.
Yeah, in the middle of the track is kind of a tricky one, Stephen, because as we saw there on that replay, some of the drivers might go inside, some might go outside. So you don't know which way to go. You don't know if you should go forward or if you should go back. So you're just basically sitting there, hoping everybody will miss you and waiting for just that little bit of clear air to get yourself going again.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting to see it going out. But out in first place, Tariq Adam, Ryan Ottens in second place. Ryan still holding the fastest lap time of the race. Christopher Radloff in third. Giovanni Porzio in fourth place. Fifth is Kieran Duplessis. Daniel Rowe in sixth. Remember, Daniel Rowe's completed all these pit stops. Everyone within the top 5 has not. Fleming Bauer, on the other hand, has not done a single pit stop the entire race. Someone want to give him a bit of a shout out there, because he's going to have to pit at some time. And with 13 minutes to go and 18 seconds, time is of the essence. And that pit window of 12 minutes and 10 seconds is not going to help him.
Not at all. And even the gaps out in front aren't that big. But, you know, Stephen, we're starting to get into that. We're talking about Fleming Bauer. We're starting to get into that stage almost where you're going to do a pit stop, do a lap, do another pit stop. And I don't know how good of a strategy that is.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was commitment to a strategy. And, you know, this is the strategy for me. This is what's going to work. It's going to help my championship. And unfortunately, the race has developed around him to the point that he's sitting with a bit of a problem. Andre Serradio and Paul Fenter are still having a bit of a battle. This is our closest battle currently on circuit. That's what we're showing it, with Morgan McCall keeping a very close eye on them.
Yeah, just sitting in the background and watching unfold in front of you. But you know, just quickly coming back to Fleming Bauer, running a strategy like that, it makes it very difficult for yourself, because you need to try and figure out after your pit stops where would you have been on the track kind of 2 minutes ago, something like that.
Yeah, it's sometimes the pure commitment to a strategy can be a double-edged blade. It can work for you if you have complete faith in it, but sometimes it can be, well, the final nail in the coffin.
Talking about a double-edged blade, at this stage Morgan McCall's got 2 blades out in front of him. Paul Fenter, and just behind Paul Fenter, Andre Soradio. They are battling it out, but Morgan is now joining this battle. And, I think his eyes are lighting up, seeing that maybe, just maybe, in the last 11 minutes, he got another 2 positions.
Yeah, it's going to be a close one, though, as Andre Soradio and Paul Fenter are definitely pacing one another. Morgan McCall was faster on the last lap, doing a 141.6, while the 2 cars in front of him doing a 142.7 and a 142.5. So they're definitely losing out a bit of time to one another. Morgan McCall gaining time, as you see Paul Fenter taking that inside line. He's going to try his best, looking for the undercut as Soradio gets back onto the power, trying to let that V10 scream right behind Paul Fenter's V6 turbocharged Ferrari, as that 296 doing everything it can to try and keep the V10s at bay.
You know what I would love?
An Audi Quattro Turbo wastegate.
Yeah. I would love to have a in-car microphone with Paul Tippy-Toe Fenter as he battles his way around.
No. There wouldn't be a...
That was a stern no.
Yeah. Tim will be holding the bleep button as long as he can at that point. That's for certain. A little bit further up, well, quite further up ahead, 7th and 6th place, Daniel Rowe and Daniel Demartros Preto are going and taking each other on once again. These two have been slugging out. The 2 Daniels having a fantastic run out there. And Rowe going out a little bit wide, losing a drive, and that's allowing the Genesis driver to get a bit closer to him as they make their way through. Great to see this little battle also still going on. As time is running out, we've now beyond the last 10 minutes of the race, and the Grid Championship brought to you by Mettlestate, RaceFace, and fueled by MTN, big supporter and major sponsor of the Springboks, going and showing off their South African colours. And these drivers doing all of us South Africans proud with some amazing racing out there.
Absolutely, Stephen. And we are not done. 9 minutes to go. We are now in the stages of this race. But anything can still happen. I mean, there's a lot of drivers that still need to do their final pit stop, and even one that needs to do 2 pit stops.
Yeah, that is Fleming Bauer needing to do 2 pit stops. But out in first place, Tariq Adams still needs to pit. Ryan Ottens needs to pit. Ryan Ottens and Tariq Adams still a bit of an interesting one there. Both of them obviously had a little bit of damage to the cars that they need to repair, but both also taking a new set of tyres. So that's going to be one to keep an eye out for. Christopher Radloff in third place has been a bit of a silent horse in the background, keeping a close eye, and at this rate will be taking a podium if he can keep it all together. Giovanni, though, is looking to go and break that little, honeymoon phase at this point, as Giovanni really getting the hammer down. Kieran Duplessis also having a great time. He's got Daniel Rowe trying to chase him down. Daniel Demartros Preto going and having a bit of a close one. So let's see how that's going to work. 8th place Fleming Bauer, along with Nicholas Manuel in 9th. 10th is SES Days. But at the moment, Daniel Rowe and Daniel Demartros Preto know exactly what's on the line, as both of them are needing to just keep the power on. They don't need to put. Andre Soradio, though, did have a little bit of contact flare up on the screen, and I think he may have lost out a bit of drive because Morgan McCall's caught right onto the back of him. So this is Andre Soradio. He's lost track of Paul Fenter going around, and might have been... Nope, nothing there. So I think, if anything, it was a sensor that got upset with how close they were to go and flare up that there might have been a slight paint rub. I think at that point it would have been sampling each other's paint.
Sampling.
Well, if you think about it, you're taking the smallest piece to get a sample of the paint tin.
Yeah, well, Morgan McCall has got some red on his Lambo, and maybe it was just a touch-up of red paint.
Just to go and clear it up, but absolutely phenomenal. But these two are on a proper little charge, and I've got to say, I'm rather impressed at both Daniels on a very clean and very, very tight race between the two of them, both keeping each other honest and both having a monster of a drive. I see Andre Serradio, though, has landed into the weeds.
What happened there?
So Tim giving us, and that's through the S's.
Yeah, now he's giving the barriers red paint.
Was that through the S's? No, that's
down. Turn 1. That might have been at the old pit lane.
It was before the old pit lane because Morgan McCall trying to dive round. This is turn 2. Right, this is snaking up to the old pit lane. And, Serradio just getting a little bit of a bump on the curb. Throws him into the side of Morgan McCall. Both getting caught out there. But Morgan ultimately able to get away unscathed. Cameron DeBastos, though, getting a little bit closer to Morgan McCall. So Andre Serradio just having that slight little offline moment has cost him a fair amount of time. Morgan McCall, though, taking the biggest of hits. He's dropped down into 21st position and has Cameron DeBastos right onto his tail. A little bit further up the road, Justin Lotus, Mahath Musa are also going at one another. But ultimately, with the final 5 minutes of the race to go, it is Tariq Adams, Ryan Ottens, Christopher Radloff, Giovanni Porzio, Kieran Duplessis. Hopefully, Isabella hopefully got that right. And not gonna come and knock on my door. Daniel Rowe. If you're gonna knock, it's gonna be for a cup of coffee. Daniel Rowe in 6th, along with Daniel DeMartis Preto in 7th position. 8th, Nicholas Manuel, SES Days. Then we got John Fafiers in 10th, 11th place, Justin Lotus with Mahath Musa all over the back of him. And let's see, it's going to be a proper little race between them. Johan Kleinans in 13th, Bago Kroblo in 14th, Paul Fenter in 15th, 16th is Fleming Bauer, Andre Serradio, Johan van der Merwe, Lecubison, Henry Mayer, Morgan McCall, Cameron DeBastos in 22nd, Kerry Duplessis in 23rd, 24th, Enrique Sichers, Ramon Ionka, Ronaldo Boersma rounding out 26th. But Battle of the Daniels now getting involved as they get a little bit closer to Kieran Duplessis. As Kieran now has Daniel Rowe getting past. He's trying to fight back. And Daniel DeMartros Pietro trying to get a little bit closer to him at this point.
Yeah, so they're going to take it right to the line. I wanted to say, it's so easy. Battle between Daniel DeMartino Prito, because you just need to remember Daniel. And Daniel going up on the inside. Daniel defending.
Not anymore, because Kieran has now got involved in the battle, and they're going to take it down to the wire. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to do the pit stops. And Tariq Adam, Ryan Ottens, Christopher Adloff, and Giovanni still needing to get into the pits. Kieran Duplessis still needing to get into the pits. So at the moment, he is defending like crazy. Daniel DeMartros Brito having to try and figure out how to get by. And you can see the frustration saying, buddy, you need to still pull into the pits. You're not the race at this point. You need to think about this. You're not my race. But Kieran Duplessis doing everything he can to try and maintain. And I don't know. I look at this. Yes, they're fighting for on-track position. But at the same time, when does the buck stop? When does the fight go? I think Duplessis is trying to help his teammate out at this point by putting up a fight. He hasn't, by the rulebook standpoint, he doesn't have to give that position.
Not at all. No.
It is.
That's what I wanted to say. There's nothing in the rules that says he needs to move over. Fight for position. Doesn't matter if he still needs to do one pit. So, unfortunately, there's going to be a frustrating thing to deal with.
Yeah, Mahath Musa and Justin Lotus look like they came into battle with one another. Justin Lotus ahead, Mahath Musa in the BMW tailing behind. And this was up into Leocorp. Justin Lotus not getting a drive. Mahath Musa going to go around the outside, switches back to the inside line. Oh, sharing a bit of paint on the way through. That wouldn't have made a very nice sound.
Yeah, gotta love that scraping sound. And, you would be all too familiar with the iRacing sound, that screech that you get.
I've also been very familiar in terms of hearing it in real life. It's not quite what you want to hear, and having your mirror folded in doesn't come into play. Q Du Plessis, though, still putting up the fight with Daniel de Martins Prieto. I do want to point out, Daniel's taking this fight on, and I think at this point, Daniel, put your head down. Don't flash the lights. You can get past him. He's doing everything he can to put the fight up, and I take my hat off. As much as it's frustrating, the rule book says that you don't have to jump out the way. They are fighting for position. We just heard the leaders on the final lap. So Kewan has to dive into the pits. But that may have gone and caused just enough time to be lost with Daniel Rowe. But Kewan Du Plessis, though, did pit and hasn't reached the box before the pit windows closed. That may also land up with a penalty. So I don't think that did his race any favor either. I don't know. But Daniel de Martins Prieto doing everything he can to close down Tim, trying to catch up to Daniel Rowe, who's just ahead of him. He is on the podium, though. Tariq Adam in first, Daniel Rowe in second, and Daniel de Martins Prieto in third. Ryan Ottens now in fourth place, needs to try get back onto that podium. So this is going to be a very, very interesting fight. And Daniel has now got to change his concentration. He gets a bit of a snap oversteer while coming on the exit. This is going to be a fight between the two. This is a battle for the podium right down to the wire. Tariq Adam coming down the hill is going to be taking first place. He sees Daniel Rowe in second, but his battle going on. Daniel de Martins Prieto and Ryan Ottens are going to take the fight. As much as we may say it's teammates talking to one another, these are drivers pushing the envelope of what they can do and really trying to battle their way through. I think, regardless of result, if Daniel can hold onto this third place, he's done an absolutely impeccable drive. And Ryan Ottens, who's clawing back, though, is going to look for the inside, drops it. But Tariq Adam taking first place, Daniel Rowe in second. Daniel de Martins Prieto getting the drive. Ryan Ottens trying to come back at him. Drag race down to the wire, but it does look like Daniel de Martins Prieto getting ahead of Ryan Ottens by 0.1 of a second. Well held between both drivers. Christopher Adloff in fifth. Giovanni Porzio takes sixth place. Q Du Plessis comes across the line in seventh place. And that did not help his race. He dropped way down the order. SES Ace down in 8th place. He's going to be rather happy with that. And you can see going and flashing his lights. A little puppy eventually getting it. Justin Lotus. He must be as happy as a puppy. That tail busy wagging. Justin Lotus in 9th. And with Mahath Musa trying to drag race him down to the wire. I don't think he's close enough to make it. So Mahath Musa content with 10th place. 11th place, Nicholas Manuel. He's just getting ahead of Kleinans in 12th. Jan Kleinans followed by Bego Krobler. Paul Pinky Toe Fenter has got Fafirs going and battling him. They are going and battling it out side by side between the two of them. But it looks like Paul Fenter able to get by. Fafirs going and saying, well done. You kept it going. Good race. Well held. Fleming Bauer. I see Morgan McCall. No! Cheetah's done it. Morgan McCall losing out a position. That was Cheetah getting involved.
Man, on the last lap.
Oh, man. Heartbreaking. Properly heartbreaking. Fleming Bauer takes 16th, 17th. Andre Serradio, Leclerc Basson, Johan van der Merwe, Henry Meyer, Cameron de Bastos, Morgan McCall, Kerry Du Plessis, Ulrich Sickers, Ronaldo Boersma, Ramon Ionka coming across the line. Let's head to a break before we come back to the pit box.
Amabogobogo are defending their title in France this year. Stuur ons bokke op hul pad met jou beste stem en shai Gwijo yako by entering your school or club's Gwijo anthem into the MTN Gwijo Challenge. Win your share of R1,000,000 by doing what it takes. Sponise, MTN, doing what it takes.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Gentlemen, what a race. Honestly, I've got to give it up to the two Daniels. Great racing. But well done to Daniel D'Amato Brito, who got kind of sandwiched in between the teammates, but still put up an impeccable fight to the end. And third place is nothing to sneeze about, and I don't think you can walk away irritated by it. You can be a little bit frustrated, but ultimately, great drive from him. Daniel Roach, also stellar drive, early pit stop managed to get him through, but Tariq Adam ultimately taking the position again. Now, I think Tariq Adam has scoring 6 out of 8 rounds. No, it would be 5 out of 8 rounds because Christian Deploy. But I think Tariq Adam may have cemented his first place in taking the championship at what we've seen here tonight.
Well, I'm going to be honest and say it. Don't take this as the final results yet. I think the stewards are going to have their hands full this week. So it might be results for now, but let's see how it all turns out in the next couple of days, next coming week before the next race.
But the racing itself, absolutely amazing. Up and down through the field, very, very close racing. A little bit of contacts that do happen right the way through, which is, it does happen. It does happen, which is a good thing. They
say rubbing is racing, and what we mean by that is, these close battles as we see the highlights of Bushman and Soradia out on track. And that's what we love to see, and it shows the class of these drivers as they go. I mean, to go like that down the mine shaft, it does take some doing.
Yeah, and I think, something we got to also just bring back home. This is the pro tier. This is the top of the top, the fastest of the fast, the guys that have really worked their way through. And the drivers, the teams are conducting themselves. They're going to have to conduct themselves very professionally, even with the frustration that comes down to it. And we've seen the guys walk up and shake each other's hands. We've seen them go and say, hey, well done for good racing. And that's what I want to see from the teams right the way through. It doesn't matter if you're in pro. It doesn't matter in the AM. Is conducting yourself in the professional manners that they do. And, you might have got caught this time round, but now, for the next race, you're going to get into the fight. You're going to dig your teeth in. You have a great one, which is always fantastic to see. And racing gets heated. Racing definitely gets heated. The guys doing side-by-side this evening, the frustrations must have kicked in of what do I need to do to shake the guys off? What do I need to do to get that extra 2-3 kilometers? But by the end of the evening, you've got to go and give it up to the drivers and say, hey, you know what? Thanks for the race. What a race it was. But next time, I'm going to get that position. Best you wait.
Well, Steve, we see it in lots of different kinds of sports. Motor racing, we see it in rugby. I mean, in a sport like rugby, the guys can go and slug it out on the field for 80 minutes long, and then at the end, can still shake each other's hand. Good match. Same in racing, and we love to see that in racing. Go, strangely enough, also at it for 80 minutes, and then, can still walk away from it and shake hands off.
Yeah, and what a race it was for the Grid Championship, brought to you by Mettlestate and RaceFace, and fueled by MTN. And I've got to say, whatever fuel they put in these cars for this race here at Kyalami, MTN, call me. I want to have that same fuel, because what an incredible pace out there for all the drivers. The cars themselves were on just on a different level the guys having to battle their way through. We saw some amazing passes, some late dives, and the guys really pushing the races. Some very unfortunate contacts did happen, loss of controls, and unfortunately some retirements. But ultimately, what a fantastic run that we had this evening for round number 6. And now we're going to be moving to round 7, which will be coming up next week. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see what the points are, and also get to chat to the drivers and everything that's going on in the background, because it's always interesting to just get some sort of feedback from the guys and say, hey, how is it out there? Not only from our pros, but our pro-ams, our ams, our golds, our silvers. Everyone has a story to tell. And even with light contacts like that, seeing guys able to pull it back from the brink is always fantastic. That being said, I do want to talk about what's coming up. At Mettlestate, registrations are open for the Rocket League to go and battle it out. Intel, MSI going, MSI, I do apologize, MSI getting into a championship with Mettlestate for Rocket League. The registrations open. They actually had to extend the registrations due to the influx of people all wanting to be there to test their skills to win the Intel CPU and motherboard. So guys, get your entries in. Go and show off what you can do. A bit of a soccer mixed in with 4 wheels. I mean, that's just the ultimate combo. And Rocket League going and showing off at Mettlestate. Coming up also next week, we do have our final round of the RaceFace F4s at Kyalami. It has been season 1. And what a season it has been. The drivers really pushing what they can do in the 2 20-minute heat races on a Tuesday evening on the 19th of September. Also happening on the 19th of September, round 9, we head to Interlagos for the RaceFace F1 2023 Championship. The guys are going and battling out Interlagos, a circuit that made or break championships. It's also broken a few cars on the way through, but also gone and cemented legends, and that's, I can't wait to go and keep an eye on for. Moving on to next week, as I said, round 8 for the GT3 Sprint Series Season 10 at Bathurst on Wednesday, 20th of September. We're heading to the mountain, Yanaman. That is a circuit that's a whole lot of fun with a massive, well, a legendary history at Bathurst.
Some say we'll be swapping GT3 cars for Aussie V8s
this weekend. Yes, that's it. Bathurst,
I'm talking about next week.
Yeah, Bathurst 1000 is next week, and this weekend is a couple of championships are actually running a Bathurst 1000 virtual in this time, and we will actually have a virtual Bathurst 1000 this weekend with the guys that are racing in Bathurst. So the Aussie V8 guys actually jumping into the sim rig, and that shows you how sim racing has evolved, that even the real life drivers that are doing the stuff want to be a part of it. But GT3 Sprint Series Season 10, the final round will be at Bathurst. Legends will be made. Ryan Ottens has been crowned champion, but 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, all so close to one another. It's not to be missed. And out on the Thursday, we also head out to Bathurst for round 7, the second last round of our grid championship on the 21st of September. Don't miss out on that. It's going to be an absolutely incredible one. And I have been informed, and correct me if I'm wrong on this one, the grid championship brought to you by Mettlestate and RaceFace, fueled by MTN, will also have an encore round after round 8 for the drivers. So don't go anywhere with that. Correct. We've got an encore by the end of this championship.
It's a rumor. Remember, we did the Grid Cup as a bit of a,
an opener.
An opener. Some say, and there is a rumor, that there will be one after the final round.
It's always like a good show, and looking at tonight, I don't want the show to end. So bring on the encore. Bring on the encore. We saw the curtain raiser. We want the encore. We want the full tickets to this show.
And it's going to be on Nordschleife.
Why not? Let's put it on. let's do it. But let's see what it's going to be on. It's going to be on a Assetto Corsa Competizione, and we're looking forward to seeing the drivers do it for the Grid Championship. Keep an eye on all the social media out at Mettlestate and also at RaceFace. Also out on MTN. they've got quite a bit going on there. Coming up also for our AMS2 on the 16th of September, they head out to Monza to go and have a bit of fun. Automobilista 2 going to be racing F1s around Monza, the Temple of Speed, for their final race. But gentlemen, with that being said, what a race it was, and it's truly been an honor commentating on some fantastic racing, especially for the Grid Championship Season 4. And we've been here since the start of it. Tear runs
now you
down.
make me feel old.
Well, that's it. The tear runs down my eye because we've seen it come to a close more than once, and we're getting closer and closer towards the end with all these drivers really putting their heart on their sleeves. It's absolutely incredible.
2 rounds to go. A champion will be crowned. That's the only 2 things we are certain about.
It's going to be an absolute big one. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you very much for joining us on this evening. If you're out on the grandstands, make sure you go and take a look at Mettlestate out on twitch.tv/Mettlestate. And also out on YouTube, look up Mettlestate. They've got lots of little shows going on. Always fantastic to go and see the content they're making. Very interesting. And also out on RaceFace, we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Hit that subscribe button along with the bell notification icon. And also go and support it out. Go and take a look at MTN. They got lots of amazing deals happening this month and coming next month. They're also getting ready for the Christmas time, so I can't wait to see what deals are going to be coming out. I know that an upgrade is in the future. Maybe a new phone would be a good idea. Maybe one that's got a louder speaker, because I tend to miss it. We'll find out. But ultimately, I'm going to need lots of data to recap the amazing action that's coming up, as our recap is on Monday. But gentlemen, I've got to say, what a race. And let's be South African about this. I'm going to go and say goodbye. And if I can somehow get it right, excuse me if I get it wrong here, but I do want to say it. One in a Zulu is saying Lalana Katle. And also in English, I'd like to say cheerio. Thank you very much for this evening. Gentlemen, honors for saying it in Afrikaans, since we're here at Kyalami.
Oh, so we're going at it again. So, everybody, goeiemorgen, goeiemiddag, goeienaand, goeienacht.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.